some more door. I live like the king with my sword drawn. It's the Marty Supreme in the full roars.
How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be talking about Marty Supreme, and once in a while a movie will come along where I'll watch a trailer to and have zero idea what it's going to be about, and that's Marty Supreme. Great media junket tour by Timothy Chalamet, full creds. On the surface, this movie is a movie about ping pong and ambition, just wanting to be the best, but in reality, it's about identity, about what happens when wanting something really bad turns into actually needing it, when the goal isn't just a destination of your ambitions and it starts being a justification for your actions. Personally, I think the smartest thing the movie does is pretty simple. It never tells us how to feel about the character, it just surrounds characters with other people and it reflects back on what those characters' actions end up doing. And by the end, the real question of the movie isn't did Marty win, it's what did winning cost him. So going from there, let's talk about Marty, played by Timothy Chalamet. He does such a great job. I understand that a lot of people have some gripes with Timothy coming out and saying he wants to be the best actor of all time. I am not ever, until he acts until his 70s and 80s, I'm never going to give him that satisfaction simply because we have people like Jack Nicholson and Tom Hanks at play. But he's making a really solid argument for a guy in his 20s, some really solid roles, and Marty Supreme might be one of my favorites. Marty is a persuasive, charismatic guy from New York where his obsession is pretty organized, or it looks like it on the surface. Below it, it's all chaos, and it's admirable at first. It becomes extremely dangerous to him and those around him. So every side character represents a version of Marty, either where he's headed, who he could be, or what he's ignoring, that makes the entire film such a fun thing to watch. So first we've got Gwyneth Paltrow, who she's a very big representation of Marty's future. I'd say she's someone who's already shown that she's made the trade-offs for her career. She feels really no need to apologize for them, and she's still looking for that next role. She's controlled, efficient, and Gwyneth Paltrow always brings in such a wonderful performance. Whether you like Goop or not, I personally don't. It doesn't really matter. As an actress, she's amazing. She's the proof of concept for Marty that it works. He's essentially looking at someone who's already made it and really wants what she has. As for the other characters, we have people like Tyler, the Creator, who I heard this was his first acting role, and if it really is, he does such an amazing job playing a guy who reflects Marty in a very different way. He's not the opposite. He's scamming with Marty. It was really fun seeing both of them run their schemes. Same type of image, leverage, and selling a version of yourself to your peers. And I think the big difference is responsibility. And I'm not going to go into too hard of spoilers, but Tyler does a really good job of being essentially Marty with wife and kids, and so there are things that Marty will suggest or do that Tyler just won't go that extra distance simply because he has that type of responsibility. And I love the weirdness along with the realism Tyler brings to the character, and again, fantastic performance. And lastly, we've got Odessa as Yon. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. I'm horrible with names, so forgive me, but she reflects the cost, the responsibility Marty refuses to acknowledge. So I won't go too deep into it, but it's implied that she and Marty have known, and it's also implied that she's probably the emotionally closest to him, which means there aren't these aggressive, dramatic confrontations. It's almost quiet suffering, and it's sad character we end up watching, and you feel really bad for her, and she fades in and out of the scene, but she's always there as a presence, and she does such a great job, Odessa does, in making this character feel really like a sailboat in the storm that's Marty. And so none of these characters exist to change him. As I said before, they're all interesting reflections of who he is, and they exist to show him himself from very different angles. And for the viewer, it's a very fun experience, especially with how chaotic the actual film becomes, and the characters provide a pretty good tethering point for the viewer to make sure that we're still locked into what's happening. In terms of the overall pros and cons of the film, I'd say the pro is chaotic, frenetic energy that is paced in a way that we understand what's going on, tight, interesting dialogue. It will be in the popular zeitgeist simply because so many of the lines were so notable. A lot of them I can't really repeat. Pretty inappropriate, but I'd suggest watching it. It's relatable in certain moments and surreal, but it's all grounded in reality. In terms of the cons, there's no big ones, I'd say. The only ones are, don't watch this with your parents. Maybe not the greatest date night movie. It is if you're already dating. If it's a first date, A, what are you doing bringing your date to the movie theaters? B, this is not the movie for it. The next thing is, because it's chaotic, I feel like if you have anxiety or just an anxious personality, this is not the movie for you. It's similar to Uncut Gems, where every single scene is really stressful. I love that. If you don't like that, do not watch this film. And finally, the finale was good. It was fine. I think it was lackluster in comparison to the rest of the film, but that's more of a compliment to the rest of the film than the finale. And speaking of finales, let's go to the conclusion. Here's the deal. Marty Supreme is a fantastic movie with loud, proud characters with the lines that you're going to remember. For me personally, I think Marty Supreme's gonna hold a pretty strong hold in the modern zeitgeist, similarly to American Psycho. It's a weird comparison, I understand. I simply think that the movie does a really good job of explaining itself, but I do see this spiraling out of control with teenagers misunderstanding the point of the movie or intentionally doing so, a la American Psycho. It is a smart, fun, loud movie that it doesn't beg for your approval, and it trusts the audience enough to connect the dots to what it's trying to say. For me, solid 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this YouTube review. We're going to have more coming up, including Avatar: Fire and Ash. Have a great, happy new year. And yeah, thank you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hate doing that, but at the same time, I understand how the algorithm works. So again, thank you.